What's going on, guys? It's official. The new director of the ATF has been selected by Trump, and I am very, very excited that I'm now able to talk about it. Also, sorry it's been a while since I've been able to get a video out to you guys. I've had some personal stuff going on, and I've been doing a lot of, travel. But we'll talk about that in a sec. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first month of the new Trump administration is officially over, and with it, the president has signed so many orders, I'm surprised his pen hasn't caught fire. But with it, we've seen a whole host of cabinet picks be selected and now confirmed by the Senate, including RFK Jr. for Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, Pete Hegseth as the Defense Secretary, and Kash Patel as Director of the FBI. But all that's done is left the gun community in suspense, wondering who will Trump pick to be the next ATF director. Well, wait no more, your answer is finally here. Drum roll, please! Your new director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is also Kash Patel. That's right, in a somewhat unprecedented move, President Trump has selected Kash Patel to not only be the director of the FBI, but also now the acting director of the ATF. It was just made official a couple hours ago. In fact, the ATF has already updated the website. And if you know anything about Kash Patel, this should excite you a lot. Now, before I get into that, let me just address the elephant in the room. I know a lot of my viewers are probably disappointed that I didn't get the pick for that position. Without me even knowing about it, you guys went on RFK's website and got me, I think, more votes than any other cabinet position on his nominees for the People polls, which of course I appreciate. But I have spent the last couple of months talking to people who are on or adjacent to the transition team, and I knew I wasn't very likely to get the nod for, a while. But I don't care. I've got my dream job. The only thing I cared about was whoever's in that role be somebody that wants to rip that agency apart, limb from limb. And I think we might have our man. But before we move on from that, I do want to mention real quick that by selling those Brandon Herrera for ATF director shirts, we did manage to raise tens of thousands of dollars for no-kill animal shelters right here in San Antonio. So we'll be donating that shortly, as well as food and supplies, all thanks to you guys. So genuinely, thank you for that. We did some good. But now to the real exciting part. A lot of you guys probably don't really know who this Kash Patel guy really is. So let me introduce you to him. Kash, come on in. I'm fucking with you. I think the guy's got his hands full. He's a little busy right now. I can tell you that Kash was my dream pick for director of the FBI. And I also got the chance to speak at an event that he was also speaking at last year at GOALS, the Gun Owners of America conference. That was the first time I really ever heard him speak. So let me just let you listen to his stance on gun laws and the Second Amendment in his own words.
The counter mandate we have is the force of the founding fathers in the Second Amendment. That is more powerful than any regulation these entities can come up with. But if you let them continue to chip away at it, they will completely take it away from you forever.
Fucking pinch me. I'm pretty sure if our last ATF director said that combination of words together, he would have caught fire. Not to mention he didn't understand firearms, at all. The guy could have at least tried, by checking out SDI.edu down in the links in the description and the pinned comment, but he didn't. He was also just a piece of shit. Now, no matter what's going on in politics or the world in general, your sources are everything. As someone who spent an entire political campaign having left-leaning sources slander or just flat out make stuff up about me, I can relate. That's why vetting your sources and understanding the biases of those sources is so important. That's one of the things that Ground News can help with. Let me use an example. Here we have a court case of a law that was banning handgun sales to 18 to 20-year-olds, which was just ruled by an appeals court unconstitutional. Just another example of another absolute W we stacked in the courts recently, but Ground News let you access almost 150 headlines covering it. It's also interesting because Ground News notes that less than 15% of those are from left-leaning sources, meaning for them this is a complete blind spot. It also lets you compare the headlines directly, which can be kind of interesting, because you have your far left-leaning sources that are saying it's a ban on handgun sales to teenagers, but on the right it specifies what it actually means, which is a federal ban on gun sales under 21. Ground News is how you can figure out that bias for yourself. And my viewers can save 40% off unlimited access by scanning this QR code or going to ground.news/BH. Again, if you want to learn the bias behind your news sources, go to ground.news/BH. But back to Kash Patel. Aside from being based, he's got a great resume. I mean, he was a lawyer, member of the National Security Council, chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense, and more, but most importantly, a raging hate boner to the bureaucrats in the FBI. And I can only imagine, and I hope, that extends to the ATF as well. I mean, come on, how can a gun rights proponent not like this fucking guy?
That mandate that the Department of Justice created, that fiction that they created, has permeated through the DEA, the ATF, and so many other organizations to strip away your rights, little by little by little by little. And none of it is the law.
And if that wasn't enough good news for you this video, we also got an announcement that Dan Bongino was just selected as Deputy Director of the FBI under Kash. Now, Dan is a huge, outspoken gun guy. I mean, hell, literally today, at time of recording, he just went on a major rant about how the ATF keeping 4473s and business records from FFLs is illegal and unconstitutional.
Records should be expunged immediately. You pass the background check. There is no reason anybody should have to keep that. None. It is being used as a list.
All this sounds like a pretty good change in rhetoric from an agency that, for the last 4 years, has hated people like you and thought you're the enemy. So with Kash and Bongino running the show, I'm hoping to get some solid policy changes just in the next couple months. And granted, there's a lot of work on the back end that has to be done with this. I understand that. But from what I'm being told, the gun community's wish list is being taken into very serious consideration. So please, for the love of God, keep up the pressure and let your voices be heard. Leave a comment down below of your own personal wish list of things that you just think that this new ATF should be targeting first. But all in all, I think for the gun community, this is good news. I know everyone in the industry right now is just looking at Kash like,
we will watch your career with great interest.
Now, circling back, as for my trip to DC, sorry if that was a little bit of a sneaky tease there in the beginning, but I couldn't help myself. But no, it was a very productive trip to both the White House and the Pentagon. The Pentagon trip was actually for the Unsubscribed podcast. We were actually given permission to film a podcast in the production room of the Pentagon, which is insane to me because that's not really a place a lot of people are allowed to go. But on top of that, they let us interview a bunch of high-ranking folks, and all of this was thanks to Chief of the Army, Randy George, so we greatly appreciate that. It was a great time, and I'm really looking forward to that coming out, hopefully this weekend. Now, on to the White House. I'm kind of in this weird place where I'm not really sure what I am and what I'm not allowed to talk about, so I'll just keep this pretty brief. It was incredible to feel the energy of the meetings and the people that are just even in the hallways there. It's fucking electric, and everybody means business this time. Pretty much everybody I know within the administration has told me in one way or the other that term 1 Trump and term 2 Trump are radically different people. He's a new man, it's a little personal now, and he's got an axe to grind. And that's pretty fucking hype. And I think I can tell you this. If the team Trump has around him now can accomplish even a third of some of the things I've heard tossed around, this might be one of the most pro-Second Amendment administrations in the last century. There's a lot of damage to undo, but there's a lot of people there willing to do it. As with all things politics, only time will tell. But I can tell you this. I came home with a lot more hope than I have felt in a long time. As an aside, too, it was also very funny to see ATF HQ tweeting today congratulations message to Kash Patel, saying they're looking forward to working with him, which really just feels like the Willem Dafoe meme, because I have a feeling a lot of people there are not very excited for the idea of Kash to be their boss. So what do you guys think about Kash Patel as the acting director pick? This one did come out of left field for me a little bit when I found out about it, but the more I think about it, the more hyped I am for the idea that, what I always said is you need to gut the parts of the ATF that make no sense, and then some of the legitimate stuff like the arson investigations, the cartel operations, like the real ones, not Fast and Furious bullshit. Take those and wrap them under the FBI and gut everything else. So I don't know if I'm looking too far into it, but seems like a pretty good start that the director of the FBI is now head of the ATF.
And I hope it happens.
Yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for staying subscribed. Appreciate you for sticking around, and especially sticking around to the end of this video. More content's coming soon. I promise not to leave you like that again. At least for a while. But unlike your dad, I come home with the cigarettes and milk. But I appreciate you guys for staying here with us. I appreciate you for staying subscribed. Also might want to check to make sure you're still subscribed, because, YouTube does that whole random unsubscribe thing, and it's really fucking annoying. But most of all, I appreciate you for staying all the way to the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next one. Thanks.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top.
Well, the answer is finally here. Drum roll, please. Your new director of the Bureau of Alcohol... Fuck me. God damn it. Whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it live.